All right, now anybody with poor self-control needs to turn around and close their eyes because I'm going to get out the cuvettes and I'm going to get out 2 cuvettes. And if I come here later and there's 60 cuvettes because you didn't want to bother cleaning one, I'm again going to get angry and I'm still going to be grading your practicals, at least one station of it. So, but otherwise it's a big pain in the neck to get a ton of them out. Well, I hope I have normal cuvettes.
There are 2 over here on the counter.
I got a couple here. Thank you for the heads up. Oh, now there's 4 out. Here, give me those. I don't want anybody to get me angry without necessary need. Thank you. Oh, they're UV cuvettes anyway. They won't work for us. Okay. So, the first thing I'm going to do is talk about the cuvette, which you should already know about because you've done this previously, but I'm still going to talk about it because you probably don't. The cuvette, the bottom is shaped like an H. And if you're close enough to see this, then you'll see that it's shaped like an H. Otherwise, you'll have to take my word for it. The brace of the H, that's the little part that goes across the middle, like not the 2 uprights, is much fatter. And that's where the sample is actually held. And it is necessary for the signal to go lengthwise through that. If you're in doubt, there's a little caret on the side that the light needs to enter in. Well, it could actually exit from there also, but that's not important. In order to properly insert the cuvette into the machine, you just open it, put the caret facing to your left, or have the open windows, the caret. To the right also works, but just to the side, just important. And then close the lid. If you insert it sideways, or you don't close the lid, you're going to get an inaccurate reading, and that'll be an issue. All right, I'm going to go through all of the steps you need to do in order to get full credit at the proctored portion of the station. I already did I do? I didn't do these calculations, did I?
No.
Whatever, they're really easy calculations. You times by 10 to the 8th, and then you times by the dilution factor if it got diluted.
Or if we're not using a colloid.
Then you'll be given the number you multiply it by. All right, so I have just come to my station, and there's some terrifying TA next to me, and I have to go through all the steps. So, yeah. What I'm going to do is take one of my, I'll take my pipetter and set it to 1 mil. That's the 100 to 1000 micropipetter set to 100. You should know that by now. I'm then going to take a cuvette and wipe off those windows that the light needs to pass through. If in doubt, wipe the whole thing off. But what is most important is that you do not touch the sides of the bottom after you wipe it. Because if you put a big fingerprint there, it's going to throw the reading off, and you're definitely going to lose a point off it. So we wipe the sides, and then carefully do not touch the bottom after that. Every year I have students that come and hold the bottom and wipe the top, and then put it in there, and they get terrible numbers, because of course you're holding the part and getting oils all over it. So don't do that, please. I always feel awful when those people come up. Alright. So here's my cuvette. I'm then going to take sterile Loria broth, because that's what the cells have grown in, and that's what we're going to use as our control. So in this case, I've got it in a culture tube, but you're probably going to get it in a flask, because there's so many of you, and we don't want to have a ton of these laying around throughout the whole course of the day. Do not take anything else like water or some kind of buffer, and please don't take out of the waste container. I don't know how that happens, but every year somebody takes from the waste container and uses that as if it was sterile broth, and then they lose a bunch of points. So I go to the first stop on my pipetter, put it into the broth, pick it up. Notice I brought my thumb up nice and slowly so I don't get any huge air bubbles in the bottom. If you actually only pick up 900 because you just took your thumb off and it sucked up a bunch of air, you're going to lose a point off it. I'm then going to add that to my tube, like so. I'm then going to put it in with the caret to the side, close the spec, and hit the calibrate button, or just CAL on this one. Now you'll notice, if you're close enough, that it has gone to 0.004. That's okay. You don't have to keep hitting calibrate till it hits all zeros. It's never going to be perfect. There's convection happening in there, and that's really the best you're going to get. That's good enough. So I'm going to take it out. I will then take another cuvette, wipe off the sides, not touching the bottom afterwards. You can throw the tip or not. It doesn't really matter because you just picked up sterile broth. Now you're going to pick up bacteria broth, so it really won't make any issue. So I'm going to pick up 1 ml of my culture, add it to the tube, nice and gingerly, put it into the speck, close the lid, and I will not hit calibrate again because that would put it to all zeros. Alright, I guess good on my green color. So now it gives me 0.233 and I can do all the necessary calculations. And that's it. You then walk away from the spec and do the calculations. The TA will clean it up. Because you do not have time to clean it up. Honest. So they're going to dump out those cuvettes and rinse them and get them ready for the next person.
Do you do those calculations on the board?
So let's say it was a 1 to 10 diluted culture. I would take 0.23 times 10 times 10 to the 8. That's it. It'd be
Times 10 times 10.
times 10. So times the constant times the dilution. That's it.
I'm trying to get what you're saying. So
If the culture had been diluted, if it wasn't, you just multiply by the constant.
the constant
0.233
is always
times 10 to the
10 to
8.
the 8.
For E. coli, it'll either be 10 to the 8 or it will give you 1. But it'll be 10 to the 8.
So 10 to the
So
10.
it's going to be equal.
It should be, unless she changed something. But it doesn't really matter.
If it's not diluted,
You just times 10 to the 8. And if it's diluted, you just multiply by the dilution
so say
rate.
if it's like 1 to 100, you would
Then you multiply by
And
100.
they'll tell us the
okay,
dilution.
so you do
Yes, you would have to be told.
So if they say the dilution rate was 1 to 100, we would multiply times 100 then by 10 to the 8.
Yes.
10 to the 8th or 10 to the 8th? 10 to the 8th, right?
10 to the 8.
Okay.
All right.
Times 500 if it was 1 to 100.
I have a discard beaker up there I'm going to get in a second for cleaning these out. But in the meantime, I'll leave it here. Okay.